Have you ever wondered what the world would look like if no one had to work? Well, according to Elon Musk, we need to start thinking about that and fast. He predicts a future where AI makes most jobs just disappear. So today, we're going to break down his warning and his pretty radical solution. And let's just start with this quote because it really sets the tone. For Musk, this isn't some sci-fi fantasy or a what-if scenario. He sees this as a certainty. It's a massive societal shift that's already in motion, all thanks to artificial intelligence.
So, what's the big warning? What exactly does he see coming? Let's get into the specifics of his predictions for AI, for jobs, and why he's so convinced that this time things are completely different.
Okay, look at this timeline. This is what's so jarring. We're not talking about 100 years from now. Musk thinks that by 2029, that's just a few years away, AI is going to handle most office jobs. And then just 5 years after that, robots will take over most physical jobs. The results? Potentially over half the population, maybe as high as 70%, could be out of work. That's a staggering thought. And this is the key difference he points to. During past revolutions, people always said, don't worry, new jobs will be created. And they were right. Farmers moved to factories. Factory workers moved into offices. But AI is different. It's not just automating one type of task. It can do physical work, it can do intellectual work, and it's even getting good at creative work. So the big, scary question is, if AI can do everything, where do the humans go? So, if you're facing that level of disruption, that kind of potential societal collapse, what do? Well, Musk's answer is something called Universal Basic Income, or UBI for short. It's an idea that's been around for a while, but in this context, it takes on a whole new urgency. And the word to focus on here is unconditional. This isn't welfare. There are no hoops to jump through, no requirements to meet. The idea is that every single citizen gets a regular paycheck from the government, just enough to cover the basics. It's a safety net for everyone in a world where the old safety net, a job, might not exist. So how in the world would we pay for this? The thinking goes something like this. The AI and robots that are doing all the work, they're going to generate unbelievable profits for corporations. So the government steps in and taxes those AI-driven profits. You can call it a robot tax. That tax money then gets redistributed directly to the people as their basic income. It's a brand new economic loop. Let's make this feel real. Imagine Mr. Kim, a taxi driver in 2030. A self-driving car takes his job. In a world without UBI, he's got nothing. He can't find new work and he faces poverty. Now imagine millions of Mr. Kims. Society would crumble. But in a world with UBI, Mr. Kim gets a check every month. It's not a lot, but it covers his rent and food. He's stable. He now has the breathing room to learn a new skill, start a creative project, or care for his family. That's the difference between chaos and a stable transition. Okay, I know what you're probably thinking. This sounds nice in theory, right? But it also sounds a little impossible. It brings up some really big practical questions, so let's tackle them head on. And yeah, this is it. The first question everyone asks, the elephant in the room. Giving every single person money every month sounds astronomically expensive. So where does all that cash actually come from? Is this even remotely realistic? And just to give you a sense of scale, let's take South Korea as an example. To give every citizen about 1 million won a month would cost around 600 trillion won a year. That's a number with so many zeros, it's hard to even wrap your head around. It sounds like a total non-starter. But wait, when you start to break it down, it looks a little different. The idea is that half of that massive bill would come from the new robot tax on those super profitable AI companies. About a third would come from rolling existing welfare programs into the UBI system, and the rest could come from some other tax adjustments. All of a sudden, it's not an impossible number anymore. It's a matter of priorities. Okay, so let's say we solve the money problem. That leads to the next huge question, the one about human nature. If your basic needs are met, what's to stop everyone from just sitting on the couch all day? Why would anyone bother to do anything? Well, the argument back is twofold. First, UBI is basic. It's not going to buy you a fancy car. People will still want more and they'll work for it. But the more profound point is, what work are we even talking about? Most of the old jobs will be gone anyway. UBI frees people up to pursue the kind of work AI can't do. The human stuff, creating art, building communities, deep scientific research, work that provides meaning, not just a paycheck. And that idea,
that's where this conversation gets really interesting. It shifts from being about economics to being about what it means to be human. It's about life beyond the 9 to 5, a life liberated from the need to work just to survive.
I mean, just pause and think about that for a second. For literally all of recorded history, the main point of life was just staying alive, getting food, finding shelter. What happens when machines handle all of that for us? We'd be the first generation of humans freed from that basic grind.
And this is the real prize, isn't it? It's not just about what jobs we lose, it's about what we gain. Freedom from boring, repetitive tasks, more time for our families and hobbies. Maybe we finally solve huge problems like childcare and taking care of the elderly, because people have the time and security to do so. We could finally stop doing things just because we have to.
So, all of this brings us to the most important part of the conversation today. If a future like this is even a possibility, the big question isn't just about technology or policy. The big question is about us. How do we as individuals get ready for it? And this really gets to the heart of it. The challenge shifts from an external one, how do I make money, to an internal one. It forces us to ask a question that most of humanity has never had the luxury of asking. What is my purpose, if not just to survive? Think about it. When you meet someone new, one of the first things you ask is, so what do you do? Our jobs give our days structure, they give us a sense of identity, a community. Preparing for this new world means we have to start building a new structure, a new sense of self that isn't tied to a job title. So let me ask you directly. If you woke up tomorrow and knew your bills were paid for life, what would you do with your day? Would you learn an instrument, write a book, volunteer, start a community garden? Thinking about the answer to that question, that's how we start preparing. And that's really the main takeaway here. This preparation isn't just for governments to figure out, it's a personal journey for every single one of us. It's about finding passions, cultivating skills, and building a life of meaning that has absolutely nothing to do with how you earn a living. Because in the end, if Musk's vision comes true, the technical challenges, like how to fund UBI, will probably be solved. The real test, the one that we need to start preparing for right now, is the human one. When you no longer have to work to live, what do you live for? What will your purpose be?